Good morning. I figured I'd share my oats with you today because I haven't done it in a while. Standard oats. Gloomy day here today. Been to the gym already. Really tough session, to be honest, but we got through it. And then today, more of the same as yesterday, to be honest. So back out to Kilcoy, light the smoker up again, do some more reverse set tomahawks. And yeah, so I'll take you out there again and see if there's anything else I can show you. I can't show you too much around the plant because it's obviously a food processing facility, so they're pretty strict on hygiene and stuff actually inside the plant. But yeah, we'll go out there and see what's happening. Interesting question or comment on this morning's video. Said, hey chef, can't recall whether you explained the significance of the Michelin Man. And what would you take being on the classic for our family Christmas tiramisu? Interesting. So the Michelin Man, if you don't know, there's a rating system for restaurants started in Europe, started in France, called the Michelin. It's called the Michelin Guide, and that started in France. I'm not sure when, but it was a long time ago. It was around the time that cars were invented and people started driving. And the Michelin company, the company Michelin, so they started this guide to show people where they could eat good food when they're out driving their cars, and that's where the Michelin Guide came from. So you know people, especially in Europe. I mean, so Michelin, the Michelin Guide is now in a lot of countries. It's in Europe. It's in Japan. I think Tokyo has like more Michelin stars than the rest of Europe combined, or some crazy stat like that. I can't remember the exact details, but I'm pretty sure it's that Tokyo city has more Michelin stars than the whole of Europe. It's in the US. It's not in Australia or New Zealand. We have something called the hat system here. I'm not sure why the Michelin Guide is in here, but when I was first cooking, especially when I was in London, like the early 2000s, Michelin stars were like gold dust and everyone wanted a Michelin star. They kind of have probably lost a bit of their luster of recently. The San Pellegrino Top 50 Restaurants Guide, that's probably, I wouldn't say it's more respected or anything, but it's just a bit different. I feel like the Michelin Guide was probably a little bit stuffy. And I kind of, now I say, like, if there's a restaurant that I can't eat, if I can't eat at a restaurant wearing a t-shirt like I'm wearing now, then I'm not interested in eating there. And I think that's not just me, I think that has that opinion. I think the days of having to wear a suit or a jacket to like fine dining restaurants are kind of over. There is still those restaurants out there, and kudos to them if that's how they want to operate. It's just something that I'm not personally interested in, and I don't think I'm alone in that opinion. White tablecloths, in saying that, like, I do, like, if I was, and I get asked this question all the time, would you ever open a restaurant? The answer is no, not right now. But I love a classic French brasserie, but the waiters do tend to wear like bow ties and white shirts and waistcoats, and there's usually white tablecloths, but they're quite different. For me, a French brasserie is about, like a neighborhood restaurant. It's open for breakfast to dinner, and it's serving classics. It's relatively fast, or it can be like a slow meal. You can have some oysters, steak frites, that type of thing. That's my kind of ideal restaurant. So the Michelin Guide was really famous, really popular. It's probably lost a little bit of its luster. There's hope for it that it can come back, but we'll see. I guess that's the ball's in their court. They do seem to have changed their tune in the last kind of years. There's a really famous lady who makes a crab omelette, and I'm pretty sure she's in Bangkok. She's had a Michelin star for I think 6 years now, and she's a street vendor. There's a soy sauce chicken place in Singapore that has a Michelin star that I've eaten at. I haven't had the crab omelette. And there's a dumpling place in Hong Kong that's had a Michelin star for a long time, and I've eaten there a couple of times as well. And all excellent, right? Like there's no question about it. But I feel like that was Michelin's kind of way of relaxing some of their, their stuff with their, their guidelines, I guess, and getting into that side of things. But it's still the creme of the creme, like the 3 Michelin star restaurants. So restaurants like the Fat Duck, El Bullier. So if you don't know what El Bullier was, it was a restaurant by Chef Fernand. I can never pronounce his name. I apologise for it. In a town outside of Barcelona in Spain, was like the home place of gastronomy. Did a lot of amazing things out of that space. It closed down a long time ago now. I think he was just, for whatever reason, decided to close it up. But that kind of era of restaurant, and then there was like the Roux brothers at the Gavroche, and there was so many of those incredible old restaurants. Those restaurants seem to have fallen by the wayside, and people aren't quite as into that. The Fat Duck still operates, I'm pretty sure, and that's a degustation only menu. I reckon you're talking 4 or 5 hours dinner. And it's an experience, right? I live in Madison Park, which is 3 Michelin stars and is completely vegan. That's in New York City. And I think if you're into gastronomy, you're into food, I think those things are definitely worth going to. And if you can afford it, it's very expensive to eat there. If you can afford it, it's worth going and experiencing it. But it's like, you don't need to go to those restaurants a lot, like if you really enjoy it and you can afford it, then sure, and go back time and time again. But for me, that's not what food's about. But I still appreciate it, and I appreciate the incredible amount of hard work that goes into running those restaurants. They are like just monumental tasks, and just ginormous teams to run them. And most of them, I don't think that there'd be any 3 Michelin stars restaurants that actually turn a substantial profit. They're passion projects, right? They're businesses that are there to, to serve a reason of ego, to be perfectly honest. And I'm not saying ego in a negative light. It's a positive thing, but it's just like and maybe ego is the wrong word, but it's like people going to the extremes to, just taking stuff to the utmost, level of precision and in every aspect, right? And those 3 stars, it's not just the food, it's the service, the ambience, the music, the level of detail they go to is phenomenal. So anyway, that was a big diversion from the original question, and I think what this person's referring to is the Michelin Man that sits behind my shoulder in the kitchen. So one of my best mates, Sammy Sweetheart, he's been on this channel. He's on this channel the other day. He's been on the main channel. He's also a chef. We went to school together. We've lived together. We've worked together. He has a restaurant in Blenheim called Frank's. He's also got a sandwich bar down there. And I'm actually also going to do I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about this yet, but I'm going to do, Caitlin might yell at me from the other room. I'm going to go and do the Marlborough Food and Wine Festival with him in New Zealand, in Marlborough. It's funny that. In February, which will be heaps of fun. Anyway, he was living with me for a while in London. Or he was just kind of staying with me. He was traveling, he wasn't working, and then he went and was eating his way around France. And he found that Michelin Man in an antique shop. It's actually a money jar, like a coin money jar, is that what they're called? Anyway, he found that in an antique shop in France and brought it for me for my birthday. So that's why that holds a special place for me. And it was kind of at a time when Michelin was like, everyone was like, yeah, Michelin, nah. So I've always had that, since that date. That must have been like 2008 or something, maybe earlier. So it's always been with me, and it always will be with me. But that's the story of the Michelin Man. And that's my understanding of the Michelin Guide. Hopefully it comes back to its former glory. Feels like it's lost a little bit of its luster. But things in popular culture and fashion tend to go around in circles, don't they? So, war of attrition. Anyway, I'm going to finish my oats, have a shower, and then get on the road. Alright, we're back here. It's pretty loud today. We're in a different spot because of the weather. But Josh has been on all day. We're about to move all these from the main cooking chamber into the resting tower. So, what temperature is that resting tower at, mate?
About 60 or 70 degrees.
60, 70. So it's not nowhere near as hot. So these have been in there for how long? An hour?
I think an hour in
An
here.
hour? Yeah. And they turned out incredible yesterday, so. I'm going to show you guys something really quickly over there. Alright, so this over here, this is what they call a covered anaerobic lagoon. So what that's all about, effectively that starts flat, completely flat. And then all the wastewater that comes off the processing plant gets pumped down into there. And then there's an enzyme that's put in there with it. It puffs up like that, and it basically puffs up and creates methane, sorry. That methane gets collected and stored in those tanks there, and then that methane is moved over to these really massive generators that we've got that are kind of behind me. And those generators, they run solely off that methane that's produced there, and they produce 80% of the power for the processing plant behind me. So it's pretty incredible. So with these anaerobic chambers and the solar on the roof, this processing plant is 100% off-grid. So it's pretty impressive. But these things are mighty impressive. I'm not sure if the camera's quite doing it justice, but they are massive. There you go. So there's some more of those tanks that store the gas. And then over there, those big green things, those are the generators that produce the power to run the plant. Not only do they produce the power, but because they're water cooled like a car engine would be, the water that comes off that is used as hot water for the plant as well. With a big old loop. Pretty incredible stuff. For engineering geeks like me, I froth this stuff. And then once all the waste has come out of these tanks, it goes into a series of ponds or a series of lagoons, open air lagoons that get filtered out, and then that water eventually goes and is used to irrigate the farms, all the farms around here. We give it all to our neighbours, and we've got farms around here as well, and it's used to irrigate that. G'day. What time is it? Well, 6 o'clock. Just got back to the studio, probably an hour ago. I had to run a bunch of errands, life errands, after I left Kilcoy. I went to the bakery, went to the Kilcoy bakery, I didn't get a pie today, I got a, just a salad sandwich. Can't beat a salad sandwich. I think I've eaten my own weight in beef the last couple of days, so, but a lot of fun the last couple of days, and at some point, if you guys are keen, I might do another video with a bit more in-depth tour of the processing plant. So, it's an interesting place. There's certain things that we can and can't take cameras in, so we'll see what we can do. Let me know in the comments if you want to see that. Anyway, legends, tomorrow is Friday, last day of school, so we will see you in the morning. We'll see how much we vlog at our Christmas party, because, I don't know, it might be nice just to put the camera down and enjoy it with the team. But take care, eat something delicious, talk soon, peace.